Right. So just the broader context, USA Today started by gathering the history of litigation involving Donald Trump and his companies, more than 3,500 lawsuits which involved Trump or his companies over the past several decades. And so our most recent article, we looked within that body of litigation at lawsuits involving allegations of non-payment against Donald Trump's companies, and specifically more than 60 lawsuits along with hundreds of other mechanics liens, judgments, other filings which indicate there are allegations Donald Trump hasn't paid contractors, workers, employees for their services. So I can talk about specific examples. The article discusses the Friel Cabinetry Company based out of Philadelphia, which did work on the casinos in Atlantic City in the 1980s. They built bases for slot machines, registration desks, and there was a dispute at the end of their work over about $83,000. And the allegation is that Donald Trump didn't pay the company for the work, which eventually contributed to the bankruptcy of that company, which employed about 20 workers in the 1980s.
Well, let's go to Paul Friel speaking to your paper, USA Today.
We did some work for a company called Perini Corporation, who was a general contractor for a hotel called Harrah's at Trump Plaza. And Donald said, well, honestly, we owe you the money, and we are willing to let you be happy with what you've been paid on the contract, and or you can simply take
with the New York Times reporters we were just talking to at Trump's Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City. Records released by the New Jersey Casino Control Commission in 1990 show at least 253 subcontractors weren't paid in full or on time, including workers who installed walls, chandeliers, plumbing. Was this also what you both found, Russ and Charles?
Sure. I mean, there was, I think, $100 million worth of claims at the Taj Mahal in 1990, 91.
How much?
I think it was about $100 million. And it created a huge turmoil in the community in Atlantic City because a lot of these were small businesses. So when you don't get $83,000, and then you have to go to hire a lawyer to fight for it, you can bankrupt a small business.
What was Donald Trump's response to your article? Russ?
He didn't question any of the points we made, that he saddled it with debt, that he pulled a lot of money out, and that his revenue lagged behind other casinos, nor that he shifted his personal debt onto the shareholders in his casinos. Some of the more specific things he said he didn't recall. The thing that he stressed over and over and over again that he wanted to make sure everyone who thought about this understood was that he personally made a lot of money from the casinos. And he wasn't too concerned with that other people might have.
Even as his companies did poorly, Mr. Trump did well. He put up little of his own money, shifted personal debts to the casinos, and collected millions of dollars in salary, bonuses, and other payments. The burden of his failures fell on investors and others who would bet on his business acumen. Their new article is headlined, How Donald Trump Bankrupted His Atlantic City Casinos But Still Earned Millions. Ross Buettner and Charles Bagley, welcome to Democracy Now! Russ, let's begin with you. Talk about what you were most surprised by in this piece, how Trump profited on failed casinos.
It's a good question. I think the most surprising thing to me was the pattern that just repeated over and over again, which is him buying high, mortgaging even higher, and then promising that everything was going to be wonderful. And the inevitable happens that they run out of cash. The casinos can't support the debt that he's put on them. He's able to get his investors to take a haircut, a big cut in the money they have coming, and then the pattern starts all over again. And that repeated itself 4 times and probably would have 5th, except for the investors had finally had it with him by about 2010.
What do you mean 4 times? 4 times bankruptcy?
4 times bankruptcy, yes.